Dream. What was the dream? The Bas Ayin came to him in a dream and he said, "You should know, I'm very thankful that you came to daven at my kever." By the way, it's a very big Indian when you daven at the kever of the tzaddik can, so to speak, feel it, and it brings a great pleasure, a great happiness that people are continuing on in those holy ways. But he said, there's one thing that you didn't make a suda in my honor. You didn't make a meal. You didn't make some l'chaim. A bunch of Yidden making a tikkun, getting together. So he immediately that morning woke up, and after the Bas Ayin comes to you in a dream and says, you know you're making a suda that day. You know what you're doing that day. And he got 10 Yidden together and they made a suda. Right after the suda he went and bought a lottery ticket, and needless to say, he had the winning numbers. And he won a nifladik amount of money. And with that money, he decided to donate a tremendous amount to Slonim, to the yeshiva. He made a request that the yeshiva should always make a suda on the Yortzeit of the Bas Ayin with white tablecloths and make a few other nice things. That it should be befitting, should be appropriate for the honor of the Bas Ayin. And until this very day in Slonim, they make a mamish big suda. They make sudas everywhere. People tell me there's also the sudas last night they were at. This morning by Yishimaya after Nate's, the sudas happen. Everything's happening. The sudas everywhere. Bas Ayin and nifladik yeshuas and brachas and hashpais players that are coming down. So one of the ways that we bring down those hashpais is to learn the words of the tzaddik. So let's see a few of the words of the tzaddik in this week's parsha. V'yishlach Yaakov malachim. Iluy Nishmas, Avraham David, Bochat Adonai, Iluy Melech, Ha'olam, Shehakoyim Yvid V'Hoy. Amen. Says the Rebbe. Here's Rashi. Rashi says that Yaakov sent malachim. What does it mean he sent malachim? Malachim mamish. Yaakov is coming back to Eretz Yisrael, and he's going to meet his brother Esav, has been wanting to kill him. And what happened? He sends some angels. Rashi says, malachim mamish. As opposed to angels can also mean, malachim can also mean messengers. Go easy on my boy Gilad. Okay. So he sent malachim mamish. Roitz aloymar, was meint das? Hainu, keven shabo, lekrosay malachim shal Eretz Yisrael, lavoisay. What's pshat? Yaakov was coming back into Eretz Yisrael. So everybody knows that you get special angels when you come to Israel. Did you guys know that? It's one of the ones everybody knows, but did you know that? No. That you didn't notice on your El Al flight that when you were about to cross over into Israeli airspace, that the angels that were with you from Chutz La'aretz all of a sudden jettisoned from the plane. And as you were crossing over the Mediterranean, the new angels came to meet you.
Now that you mentioned it.
Oh, very good. Now that we mentioned it, I was like, oh yeah, I noticed something wild happening. We were crossing over, into by Tel Aviv over there, at 30,000 feet. So yes, the angels that escort you in Eretz Yisrael, those are very good ones, Rabbi. So don't be shy. Let's get involved. Yeah. No, the yeshiva should always use a credit card or a Rabbi. Really? Yeah. It's pretty good, right? So what happened? That the angels of Elokim met Yaakov Avinu. Why? And therefore he had malachim that were with him before. And what happened? Now the new malachim from Eretz Yisrael came. So what did Yaakov Avinu do with the malachim from Chutz La'aretz? Those were the malachim that he sent to Esav. That means v'yishlach Yaakov malachim mamish. He sent those Chutz La'aretz dikka malachim to Esav. Okay? Says the Rebbe. There's something we have to understand. How did the malachim of Eretz Yisrael pull up? At that point, Yaakov was actually very far from Eretz Yisrael. He wasn't even in Ammon and Moab territory. He was he didn't even get Sukkot. He was very, very far from Eretz Yisrael. So why would it be that now the Malachim of Eretz Yisrael pulled up and he has these extra Malachim of Chutz La'aretz? Oh, I use these extra Malachim to send to Esav. He wasn't there. The math doesn't add up. Ki adayin lo higia afilu Sukkos. V'hine kvar hirgish b'zeh Ramban. The Ramban asked this kasha. The way the Bas Ayin explains the teretz of the Ramban isn't exactly how the Ramban seems to say it, but it looks like you have to really learn the Ramban carefully to see the way the Bas Ayin understood the Ramban. But the way the Bas Ayin is saying the Ramban, look what he says. The teretz. How could it be that Am Yaakov in the house is Malachim Eretz Yisrael before he got to Eretz Yisrael? Look what he said. This in itself could take us like 7 hours just to go into this inyan. The teretz kiven shehechsek badera lo leches leEretz Yisrael. Once he took upon himself that he's going to Israel, hava kamoishe kfar higia leEretz Yisrael. It's like he was already in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore lachein ba loy malach Eretz Yisrael lavois b'derech. And therefore the Eretz Yisrael angels came to greet him on the way. You hear that answer? We could spend many years on that. Which means the second that you're sitting in your house in 5 towns, in Englewood, in Queens, and who knows where, anywhere, in Paris, and wherever, Edison. London, Edison, yeah. Edison, New Rochelle, Riverdale, Toronto, the city, Dallas, Texas.
Highland Park.
Highland Park. Okay, we're getting all the shout-outs. Wherever you might be. Hollywood, California. Hollywood, Florida. Miami Beach. Wherever you are. But it says, I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. I'm deciding to go to Eretz Yisrael. Already your Chutz La'aretz Dik Malachim jettison. You can send it to Esav, which we'll see if we get to it. This really is like a 10-hour piece. It'll take us about 10 hours to do this properly. We're going to try to do it in about 10 minutes. But those Malachim leave, and now you have Eretz Yisrael Dik Malachim escorting you.
If you're leaving Israel, but you're coming back, do your Israeli angels
leave you?
They never leave?
If it sounds like you're always coming back to Eretz Yisrael, you're always in that mindset.
Yeah.
I'm on my way to Israel. In consciousness, it would sound like this from the Ramban, the way the Bas Ayin understands the Ramban, as the way he understands the pasuk, is that yes, you would have angels in Eretz Yisrael. But the Rebbe says the following: Adayin tzricha lahaven. That's a very beautiful idea. But we need to understand now in Malach Chutz La'aretz, Malach Eretz Yisrael, on Derech HaAvodah. You notice in the Bas Ayin, it's always about Derech HaAvodah. Meaning, nobody asked the question like, what is an angel of Eretz Yisrael and what's an angel of Chutz La'aretz? Was meint das? What does that mean to me today, Tavshin Pei Days, 2021? What does that mean? Such a thing. So that's the 10-hour part. We'll see what we can do. Let's mamish move here. We're going to say a lot, and we're just going to try to hold on to the coattails of the tzaddik. That inyan the inyan is the following. Shemikol dibur shel mitzvah nivra malach echad. The idea is every time that you say a word of a mitzvah, it turns into an angel. The Zohar says, I'm quoting the Lashon of the Zohar Chodesh, B'dugma da b'yamamadi yemrum. He brings it here at the bottom. That during the daytime, if you see somebody, let's say your own wife is pregnant, and there's a child inside, you tell that uber b'me'ei imay, you tell that fetus the following: Im tizke be'raisa, if you are zoiche to learn Torah, kol ois v'ois yemalach, every letter of Torah that you learn will become an angel. The yazrecha be'asra adem, that will become an angel that will help you when you come out of there into this world. Because the fetus is inside the mother, but you're already telling them, you should know, that every single letter of Torah that you learn out where we are in this world, it's going to create angels and plethoras and cadres of angels that will help you in this world. You're going to need help. This is a world of darkness. You're going to need help in this world. So just remember. And you see from the Zohar that The fetus knows well what's going on and can hear what's going on. And that's why a good idea that when people are pregnant to spend time around holy things and holy ideas and listen to holy music. You know, better not have any like bad rap on and stuff like that. Ki yedua, as this is well known. Ve'amu Chazal. And Chazal said, "La'olam yasek odom ba'Torah, shaloi l'shma." A person should always learn Torah, even if it's not for the best reasons. She'v'Torah shaloi l'shma, ba'al l'shma. Because if you do it, even if it's not for the best reasons, you'll come to do it for the right reasons. Said the Rebbe. Ulahav and Zeh. Let's understand something. The whole world is created for what? It was created for Yira. Yira. Yira means Reishis Chachma Yiras Hashem. The beginning of all wisdom is Yira. Even the word Bereshis is Yira Voishis. To have a Yira of embarrassment, of becoming sullied and embarrassed. You know, what's the ultimate Yira Iluy? Upper awe, upper fear. Yira Panemius, by the Bas Ayin was totally into bringing this Indian of Yira into the world, but in a healthy way. And maybe that's one of the reasons why, that in our generation it's true, that mostly it's all about Ava. But you know, you can't forget the left arm also. There has to be, maybe Reb Melech is exactly the one that his neshama is so makusher to the Bas Ayin. Every piece is about Yira and Al Derech HaMusar and Derech HaAvayda. Is that, yeah, we have to also be a bit serious and understand that there's consequences to our actions. Yira Panemius, Yira Saboishis. This bayish lira mitpana begin to iu rav v'sholem ikara v'sharsh b'kol almin. That God, you are the master and you're the source of all existence. And if you're the source of all existence, if you were to decide for 1 second that existence should stop or a part of existence should stop, then it will stop. That should bring a person to a level of awe, where he stops feeling like some hottie, hot shot. Like he calls all the shots and he can just do whatever he wants and there's not going to be any consequences. However, that higher level of Yira, you can't get to that level right away. You have to go slowly. The first thing you have to do is get to a basic level of Yira. Which is that, yeah, there's such a thing called consequence. There's such a thing called my actions mean something, and there's a judge that's going to be asking me, can you please tell me why you did this, that, and the other? It's not like a person gets up there, it's like, oh God, how you doing? Yeah, like, we're cool, right? Pump it, yeah, okay, shkoyach. Lead me down into the, that palace over there I'm waiting for. He's like, well, let's actually do an audit on every single thing you ever did. And let's talk about it. We're going to discuss it. No, really? Everything? Yeah, everything. Like, really? Really? Yeah, it's because yesh din v'yesh dayan. There's such a thing as a judge. That's why we go and you see judgment and law being served. And you see people who are squirmy getting taken to court. There's something very satisfying because when justice is served, it's very, very noble, it's very good, it's very real. That's not the highest level of Yira, but we got to at least get that straight. It says, look up, put your eyes up to heaven, and see who made all this stuff. A person never thinks like where did that come from? Look up and ponder. What's this all about? Is there purpose to everything? Is there going to be consequence? Think about that. Shiestakel b'chol davar sheyesh by koyach v'chayis eliki hamachayim mahava oisay b'chol rega ubeheder zeh chas v'shol yoshev hakol ha'ayin ve'eves. And God is infusing life into every single thing, every single second. And if God were to God forbid, take away that life force, the thing would just revert back to nothingness in a moment. That's what it means, put your eyes up to heaven and see who's making everything at every single moment. All of a sudden, this is real, it's all real. And like it says in Pirkei Avos, look into three things, and you won't come to sin. Just look, what's above you? Ayin Aroya, an eye that sees. Not just Alexis. God. An eye that's seeing. The eyes and shaymas, and there's an ear that's listening. And all your actions are written in a book. It's all real. It's all real. Here, and then you're gonna start getting away from things, and then you'll get to that higher level of year. Let's just see one more minute. When you say Shema, Shema Yisrael, Shurusha Tevis, what's Shema? Se'u Mora Meinechem. When you say Shema, the Zohar says you should think. Shin, Mem, Ayin, Se'u Mora Meinechem. Look up, Shema, hear this well, look up. And also, Shema is what? A Shin, Mem, and Ayin, Sham Ayin.
Here's the eye.
No, over there, up there, there's an eye watching. There's an all-seeing eye. It's actually God that's watching, not the Illuminati. An eye that's mamish watching you, God. That's the Shema, the Sham Ayin. When a person realizes that, it's like, this is real stuff here. There's real stuff here. It's not simple, just, yeah, I think it had a hechsher. I'm sure it's fine with Shemitah. Kosher style, you know. I think, you know, fill in the blank. I'm sure it's appropriate to watch that episode of such and such. You know, why else would they put it on Netflix? That's a public, you know, available forum. I'm sure they have our best interest in mind. So, no, Shema, my friend. Se'u Mar Meinechem. You know, Sham Ayin. There's an eye that's watching. There's God. To make this all, you guys should learn this piece. It's so nifladik. But I'm just going to give it to you, nifladik. I'm going to give it to you right now. What does it mean that Yaakov Avinu had these malachim? So it explains like this. That tzaddik goes up and up and up and up, and he goes from a lower level of year to higher level of year. Lower level of year is called your chutz la'aretz tikkun malachim. That's the type of angels that you create by having yirsa einish. The higher level malachim are the angels that you create through a high level of year. Mamish total devekis to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Not because I'm going to get pashed, not because I'm going to get harmed as a punishment, just that I dissolve in the face of the greatest of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That level. That tzaddik is always trying to help the Rishayim. He's always trying to help people. That tzaddik can only help the Rishayim that are sometimes doing things to fight God if you can get to the higher level of Yira. Once he gets to the higher level of Yira, so he has his Eretz Yisrael Tikkun Malachim, his Chutz La'aretz Tikkun Malachim are now available. He sends those Chutz La'aretz Tikkun Malachim that were created through Yira Tata. Those Chutz La'aretz Tikkun Malachim can meet the Esav of the world and start to help Esav, to be Makar of Esav. But the tzaddik can only do that when he gets to a higher level of year. If he's only on the lower level of year, he only has chutz la'aretz tikkun malachim. Once he gets to the higher level of year, he has eretz yisrael tikkun malachim. So now we can take those chutz la'aretz tikkun malachim and send them to Esav. And that's why it says by Esav that the Yetzer, that there was like something, that Esav even started to feel like something's going on. He was doing tshuva, there was a charata, something is happening. Nifla, Menachem. Bezrat Hashem, we should be Zoycha, the Or, the Bas Ayin, it's Kusig and Aleinu, should be Mogging, Aleinu, should be Aleinu, it's Yoshem, we should be Mekush, and all the Tzadik Mamitin, and Bezrat Hashem, see the girl, Tzedek, coming now with all of Klal Yisrael, all of humanity, back to Teres Hashem, Tamima, with Mishit, Tzedek, and Herod, Amen. Amen.